Take a deep breath. Slow down for a moment. Have you ever paused to consider what it truly means to remember? What does it mean to forget? And when we think about forgetting, is it a mercy or a loss? Are we losing something valuable? Or are we giving ourselves space to heal? When we hold on to the past, are we preserving something meaningful or are we preventing ourselves from moving forward? These are deep questions. Questions that touch on the essence of our human experience. Today, we'll explore these ideas through the reflections of Mahmoud Darwish in his work Memory for Forgetfulness. This book is not just about the pain of war. It delves into the deeper themes of identity, belonging, loss, and the role of memory in shaping our lives. It invites us to reflect on how our memories, particularly those of suffering and displacement, define us. But, more importantly, it challenges us to think about how we choose to carry these memories forward, whether we let them shape us or hold us back. The power and burden of memory. Memory is a powerful force. It connects us to who we are, to the people we love, and to the lessons we've learned. But not all memories are easy to carry. Some are heavy with pain, regret, or grief. Some memories, though difficult, shape us in ways we may not immediately understand. For Darwish, memory is an act of survival, a refusal to forget his homeland because forgetting would be to lose a part of himself. His memories of exile, struggle, and longing are deeply intertwined with his identity. Darwish writes, "Memory for forgetfulness, forgetfulness for memory." These words capture the paradox of human experience. While memory is a gift that helps us understand ourselves, it can also be a source of great pain, especially when tied to trauma, loss, or displacement. For Darwish, exile is not just a physical condition. It is a state of being defined by the constant presence of longing and the painful process of remembering a home he can no longer return to. His memory is a form of resistance. It refuses to forget because forgetting would erase the essence of his identity. But what about you? Take a moment to think about a memory that has shaped you, one that still lingers, affecting your thoughts, actions, and emotions. Perhaps it's a painful memory, or perhaps one filled with warmth and joy. Reflect on its impact. Does this memory empower you to move forward, or does it weigh you down? If it strengthens you, acknowledge the lesson it has brought. If it burdens you, it may be time to reflect and decide whether it is time to let go. The healing power of reflection. Reflection is a powerful tool for personal growth. By reflecting on our experiences, we gain clarity and wisdom. Consider writing down the memory you've just thought of, not just the event itself, but also the lesson it taught you. Shift your perspective from the pain to the wisdom gained. If a hardship taught you patience, resilience, or forgiveness, focus on the growth that came from it. This way, you transform a painful experience into a source of strength. Darwish emphasizes the need to hold on to memory, not to dwell on the past, but to allow it to guide us through the present. He writes about the necessity of remembering, because memory is not just about preserving the past, it's about understanding our journey and ensuring we do not repeat the same mistakes. Memory allows us to honor those who came before us and to ensure that their struggles, their sacrifices, and their wisdom live on. There is a natural kind of forgetting, the type that helps us move on from small details or old wounds. But there's also a kind of forgetting that is dangerous, the kind that erases truths that shape who we are. Darwish warns against forgetting history, particularly the suffering and struggles that have shaped a people's identity. He writes, "If you forget your roots, you will lose your soul." This is a reminder that forgetting the lessons and history of the past can sever our connection to our true self. We must be careful not to forget the important lessons of the past, as doing so can lead us to repeat past mistakes. Protecting the truth and learning from it helps us grow rather than holding us back. The importance of remembrance. Consider your own life. Have you ever felt that your story was being overlooked or minimized? Perhaps someone tried to dismiss your struggles or told you that your experiences weren't significant. In such moments, remembering your experiences becomes an act of responsibility. Your story and the lessons learned from it matter, and they deserve to be remembered and shared. Darwish himself speaks of the power of remembrance, where remembering becomes a sacred act, a refusal to let one's history be erased. In his exile, Darwish is faced with the task of preserving his people's stories to keep their history alive despite efforts to silence them. For him, Memory is not a burden, but a form of resistance to those who would erase the past. Reflect on the truths you've learned throughout your life. What lessons have you gained that you would like to pass on? Perhaps it's a lesson from a parent, an elder, or a difficult personal experience. Write it down and preserve it. Share this wisdom with others, especially with those who may benefit from it, whether it be a younger sibling, cousin, or friend. Truth and wisdom should be preserved and honored, not erased. Home, exile, and belonging. In memory. For forgetfulness, Darwish speaks of home, not just as a physical place, but as something deeply tied to one's identity and memories. Home for him is something that cannot be fully returned to because of his exile. It is a sense of belonging that can feel lost, but is also a part of his journey. He writes, "Home is not a place, it is a memory." Pause for a moment. What does home mean to you? Is it a place, the people you are surrounded by, or perhaps a sense of peace and familiarity? What makes you feel grounded and at peace? For Darwish, home is not just a physical place, it is the connection to one's roots, to one's people, and to one's values. Even in exile, he holds on to the memory of his home as part of his identity, and that memory gives him strength in his journey. But what happens when the idea of home changes, or when the place we call home is no longer the same? If ever this sense of home were to change or be taken from you, what would remain? What would continue to define your sense of identity and belonging? Life is filled with changes. People move, places shift, and circumstances evolve. And in those moments, what keeps you rooted in your values and your sense of self? Is it the kindness you extend to others? The patience you show in difficult times? The values that guide your decisions? Finding belonging. Consider what makes you feel grounded and at home. Is it a practice or a habit you engage in, like spending time with family, being in nature, or helping others? Perhaps it's a tradition or act of kindness that reminds you of who you are. Write down a few things that give you a sense of belonging and peace. These are the things that help you remain centered no matter where life takes you. They are the practices that nurture your soul and keep you connected to what truly matters. The power of words. Words are powerful. They can heal, inspire, and uplift, but they can also hurt, divide, and cause harm. In every interaction, consider the words you use. Do they reflect the truth? Are they kind and thoughtful? The way we speak to others and the way we speak to ourselves can shape our relationships and our self-image. Darwish understood the power of words, writing, "The word is the tool of survival through resistance." In the face of oppression, in the midst of exile, his words became his weapon. He used them to resist, to remember, and to preserve his history. Words for Darwish are a tool for not only survival, but for affirming one's identity and dignity. Reflect on the words you use daily. Are they words of encouragement, kindness, and truth? Or do they sometimes carry unintended harm, even without meaning to? Take a moment to write one sentence that inspires you. Perhaps it's a truth you need to remind yourself of, a lesson that has shaped you. Speak it aloud, let it resonate with you. The words you speak have the power to uplift yourself and others, so choose them wisely and kindly. Moving forward, carrying memory with purpose. Before we conclude, consider this final question. What will you carry forward from today? And what will you choose to leave behind? Not all memories need to be carried forward. Some should be set down to allow us to move forward without their weight. But there are others. Some lessons, some truths that are too important to forget. Ask yourself, what is one thing you need to remember in order to grow? What is one thing you need to release in order to find peace? And how can you use your words, your actions, and your life to bring goodness into the world? If this reflection has sparked even a moment of thought, take time today to sit with these questions. Be gentle with yourself, but also take steps toward meaningful growth. The memories you carry, the words you speak, and the actions you take all have the power to shape your future.